we're going to look at an assignment called market segmentation. And segments means pieces of. And so we're going to look at our market. That means who might buy what we want. Now, first of all, let's get out our Cornell notes. So you're going to need your Cornell notes to add this information to it. We're going to talk about a few things, and then we're going to go out and we're going to physically research and see if we can find some data to help us know exactly who we are trying to market to. So let's go to our let's go to this idea here of our of who we're going to market to. So the first is our trading area. Now, if you're watching this now, you've missed the first part of our assignment, the bell ringer, and that was a thing where I put a Google sheet out there and ask everybody to put their name, to put their gender, to put their what sport they liked, whether they're right-handed or left-handed, and how many siblings they had. So we collected data from everybody in that class. So everybody in that class now became our trading area. If that was all we were going to market to or sell to, then we collected data on them to know how do we sell, what do we need to know, or what do we need to do to sell to that particular group. So we played with that data and said, okay, there are so many left-handed people, there's so many people who like soccer, and there's so many girls who like soccer, so I might market to girls who play soccer. So that's our trading area. Now for us, we're going to look at our trading area as how far we can reach with our business. Now, I often talk about the little convenience store down on 78 because I go in there and they have great little tacos and I can get a drink or whatever and gas. And so I use them frequently. Now, what is their trading area? Well, no one's going to drive in from Fort Worth to buy a taco from them because they got a great little taco stand in there. No one's going to drive all the way over there to buy gas from them. So for them, being in that brick and mortar location, it's going to be the neighborhood around them and anybody who drives up and down 78. That's all the people that are going to be in their market. Now, we're doing something that's digital. So if we're doing digital or virtual business, you go, well, you can be anywhere in the world and look on the web and see a website. The answer to that is true. So we might say that our whole trading area is the whole world. But that wouldn't quite be true. And here's the reason why. Look at some of the problems that we have. We have geographic problems, meaning we can't get there. We might have some economic problems, meaning they're too poor to be able to buy our product. We may have demographic problems, meaning they don't play soccer, and so there wouldn't be interested in it. Some population or some characteristics, some income, some age, race, gender, all those things may come into play in terms of us looking at, can we actually deal with them? Now, geographically, we say, oh, we can get anybody in the internet, but that's not true. Because if we have a product that can't be shipped that far, then we have a problem. One of my students wanted to sell cakes. Now, cakes are great. You got to be careful shipping them. But if I shipped cakes to Maine and it took several days, that cake would be dried out. It wouldn't be fresh. It wouldn't be. And so maybe Maine is too far. Definitely China is too far to ship a cake. And so that kind of shipping, that's a geographic problem. The economic problem may be that the cake would be $15, but to ship it to China, it may cost me $45 to ship it there. Well, who's going to buy a $15 cake and then pay $45 to have it shipped? That's an economic. Or maybe they can't afford a $15 cake plus shipping. So that's another economic. Let's look at demographic and things like that. An illustration may be that we may want to sell bacon. However, there are a number of areas that are have a high Muslim population and a high Jewish population who don't eat pork at all. Now, from that, it says, hey, I'm not going to, that's not part of my market. They're not going to buy my bacon. That's their religious belief, and that's good and fine. But if I'm marketing, that's not the place I'm going to market. I might market something else there, but not bacon. And so that's a population hindrance. So we have to find the right population to do that. It would be like bagpipes, which bagpipes are these big pipes that are compressed with a bag, and they walk around blowing them. They're real loud. There's only about 100 people in Dallas who play those. I'm not going to sell bagpipes in Dallas, at least not market to them. You could buy them, just not going to market to them. But I might do it in Scotland, where they're from, or other places where it's a higher chance of selling. And that's what we need to know. What is our trading area? Can I ship it there, or there's some problems? I also need to know about my competitors, their size and numbers. Now, the next thing I want to know here is our market segmentation. What that means is, out of all the people who could buy, what part of it do I really want to go after? And so by deciding what part of that I really want to go after, then I can focus my marketing, my advertising, and those type of things directly at them with the right wording. I'm even going to look at, maybe I'm going to direct it to youth, not adults. So I might use some words and things, music, background, whatever, that is more youth oriented. But someone in their 60s that wouldn't appeal to them at all. So I'm going to find my market segment and I'm going to go after it. Now, how do I find that? Well, believe it or not, you can research on the internet and you can find a lot about different businesses. Let's go back to our soccer illustration. It's a good running illustration for us, so let's go back to that. So here's what I did. I typed in at the top, and you can't see it now. I'll go back so you can see. I typed in the number of youth playing soccer. That's all I wanted to know. How many youth are playing soccer? Because remember, I want to sell them shoes. How many youth are playing soccer? So I scrolled down and found this website that talked about the numbers per state. Now, the statistics are a little older. They're actually from 2014. It hadn't been updated, but it's okay. We're going to use it as our example. So what they did was they realized that there were over 3 million youth playing soccer and over 500,000 volunteers. And that the breakdown between males and females who are playing soccer is about 50-50, about 52 to 48. And that the average age is 11 and a half. Now, how can we tell that? Well, they did research, just like when you go into a mall or something and someone has a clipboard and they say, can I ask you a few questions? They're doing that kind of research on whatever product they're trying to research. And so they're asking people questions about would you buy, those kinds of things. Well, let's look at this. I'm going to scroll down a little bit farther. Check out this breakdown. This little chart tells us that the largest percentage of these 3 million students that play soccer are between the ages of 10 and 14, 48% of them. That means over 1.5 million, almost 1.5 million soccer players are between the ages of 10 and 14. The next largest group is under 10, and that's 37% of it. And then you get to 15 to 17-year-olds or 20, and they include the 18 and 19-year-olds still in the youth soccer, right? So if I'm going to market to the largest group, I'm going to think, what would a 10 through 14-year-old, what would get their attention? And that's what I'm trying to find. When I'm finding research, I'm learning, I can focus on this 10 to 14-year-old, boys and girls, because that's our largest one. And even if I do it just right, I might hit these 10 and under. Now, here's a little graph that says that soccer is larger than Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Little League Baseball, kind of a comparison registration. But check this out. Here's started at 55 in 1995. it was 55% male, 45% female. Get to 2008, it's almost at half, almost at 50-50 in 2008. I'm sure now it is closer to 50-50. Now here is, I think, a neat piece. And that is, this tells me what states have the largest number of students, youth, playing soccer. Now check this out. The blue is the lowest. So if I'm going to market, advertise to someone, would I advertise to someone in Alaska or Maine or Vermont or North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, Nevada, or Hawaii? No, because there's just less than 15,000 students who are in that. And so that's very few students. So I'm not going to focus any of my attention on that. Now, if they buy from that, that's great. And they're going to see some of it, but my attention's really going to focus on the biggest market, and that is in this dark area, like California, Texas, Washington, Florida, looks like here Virginia, and a part of Pennsylvania. And so I've got these Long Island, so I've got these spots up here, part of New York. So I've got some spots that are really over 100,000 youth that are playing soccer. That's where I'm going to focus my attention. I can also come back that's 60 to 100,000 and focus on Utah, Colorado, Minnesota, Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, Georgia, North Carolina, and then I can get up in here into part of West Virginia. And so I can focus on some of those areas because they have a lot too. And I might write ads that are focused maybe at these two states, which are going to have a heavy Hispanic communities, California and Texas. And so I might focus on them and do some things that are Hispanic oriented. Or I might do some things that really are fit more of the southern kinds of things and hit these here. So I can make some focused advertising to try to reach specific people from specific places. Now, someone has already done this research. All I got to do now is figure out I can market to a 10 to 14-year-old boy or girl in Texas or California or Florida who plays soccer, and probably because those are good weather states, playing it year round, multiple times a year, meaning a spring and a fall time a year, and I can market to them. What do they look like? Well, I can even, some places would even break that down into not just gender, but their backgrounds. Are they Hispanic? Are they African American? Are they Caucasian? Who are they? And so we can break that down even more. Some websites will do that. This one did not. So this is marketing research. All I did was type in here the question, number of youth playing soccer. I did the same thing with sailing. Number of youth playing who were sailing. Well, I got about 300,000 is what I saw. And so with 300,000, now I can focus on how do I market to those 300,000 and where are they located. And so a lot of them are on the coasts, but there are some in the center, in the inland states. So doing this research helps me know exactly who I'm going to market to. So here's what you would do. You would do your research and start trying, maybe number didn't want, you might put statistics. Just keep playing with this until you start seeing how many people are playing. And so that's going to help you, right? Then what you're going to do is you're going to put that on a Google Docs, okay? You're going to turn that in, so I see some of your research, but you're also going to add it to your executive summary up here in a section called Marketing Research or Marketing Segmentation. So it's all there together. This takes a little time to do. You'll need to do some searching. You may have to change the words up. I think I did one on numbers of girls who wore makeup, or teenagers who wore makeup. and where do they buy it from, those kinds of things. So you can do different kinds of research to find out, but you got to just keep playing with this right here until you start seeing numbers. All right, do your research, get it together, and get it added. If you need any help, please ask me.